OMG, I feel like so much has happened since my last video where I introduced you to my side hustle journey of opening an events-based business. Hi, I'm Tamara, and this is Side Hustle Chronicles, where I'm taking you on the journey of me and my bestie attempting to open an events-based business in Los Angeles, California. In my last video, I showed you a bunch of empty retail spaces we checked out. Most of them turned out to be rented already, even though the for lease signs were still in the windows. Thank you very much. But we found an available space that we are really excited about. This one right here that used to be a Payless shoe store. So we got in contact with the realtor and he sent us a retail sales brochure. Now, just in case you've never seen one of these, I'll go over it really quickly. This page highlights some of the big anchor stores that are current tenants. It also gives some interesting financial information about the surrounding neighborhood. Like the average household income in 2022 anyway is over $150,000 a year from a 1 to 5 mile radius. Now that's a good number for Los Angeles to be in an area where folks potentially have a little extra income to invest in hosting an event and renting a venue from moi. The next two pages have an overview map to show where all of the various stores are located and how large their spaces are. So when it comes to the price of the space we're interested in, he said the owner is asking $2.75 per square foot. The space is 2,700 square feet. So doing the math on that gets us to $7,425 a month, which is at the top of our budget. But where they get you is on the triple net. Triple net is the amount that many, but not all, retail landlords charge for upkeep of common area spaces like the parking lot, gardening, cost of insuring common area spaces, and so forth. So on top of the $2.75 a square foot they charge to rent the space, they tack on an additional 85 cents per square foot for triple net. They like to quote these numbers separately instead of just adding them together. Anyway, 85 cents may not sound like much, but when you multiply it by 2,700, it comes up to an additional $2,295 a month on top of the $7,425 for a whopping total of $9,720 a month, which means in order to get into this space, we would have to pay 1 month's rent plus another month's rent as a deposit, which is $19,440. But even with all that said, we're still very interested in moving forward because we're thinking between our sparkling personalities and the fact that this space has been sitting vacant for years, we may be able to negotiate a better rate. In the meantime, the realtor said that he would check the CC&Rs, which stands for Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions, basically the rules of the shopping center, to confirm that there are no restrictions on having an event venue in that shopping center. So while he did his homework, he suggested that we contact the zoning office at the county to confirm that this space is zoned to have an event venue in it. So we gave the zoning office a call and he confirmed that we can operate our business there. He went on to explain that if we ultimately land on a space that is not properly zoned for an event venue, we would have to apply for a change of use permit, and they call that a CUP. But get this, the CUP process can take a year to complete, and guess how much it cost? Nope. Guess again. Nope. $15,000. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, this is money paid to the county. It has nothing to do with what we have to pay the landlord. So in the meantime, you can't even open your business. And at the end of the CUP year, there's absolutely no guarantee that the request to rezone that space will be granted. Like, how are you supposed to convince a landlord to keep their space vacant for a year just in case we are able to get it rezoned? In other words, we will not be considering a space that isn't properly zoned for what we need it for. So the guy at the zoning office suggested that we talk to the building and planning department to find out what they may require us to do with the space. Now, this is something we need to do in person so we can show them the layout of the unit and share our ideas with them. So we made plans to head over to that office in the near future. By the way, if you would like to continue to follow this journey, please make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the upcoming videos. Plus, it really helps this channel grow. Thank you. Moving on, we reached out to an attorney to help us form our LLC partnership. I know they have sites like LegalZoom that will help you with stuff like this, but it's a little more complicated with two people are involved. For instance, the paperwork needs to include what happens if one of us decides to leave the business. Like later down the road when we're making millions, can I sell my portion of the business to some rando stranger that Denise will be stuck with trying to figure out how to work with? No, we don't want that. She should get the first pass at purchasing my half of the business, but all of this needs to be outlined in the bylaws. So anyway, we made an appointment to meet with an attorney. In the meantime, we continue to look at spaces just in case the old Payless shoe store doesn't work out. So we reached out to a realtor about this shopping center that has 2 empty spaces we are interested in. We wanted to check out the 2 on the end. So we started with the second to the last. It was kind of a surprise of how open it was, and we were very happy that it's a nice blank canvas. And another surprise is the second story up there, that terrace up top. We didn't know that it was going to be there. Not quite sure what we would use this little room for. Maybe we could put up some curtains and make it into a little private space for the host of the events. Like maybe they can leave their things in there perhaps. On the other side of that little room is this open space that leads to one restroom. I couldn't wait to scout upstairs to see what was going on up there. Okay, this is a nice size area where we can keep the party going up top. I like that it looks out into the main room so folks can still see what's going on down there. However, I was concerned about how low that wall is. It only takes one person to flip over that rail and get hurt to ruin the whole dang party. You know what I mean? This room is the perfect size for storage. We could fit a lot of chairs and tables and decorations in here. The only problem is that it's upstairs. It would mean schlepping heavy tables and chairs up and down stairs. The large awkward tables would be the biggest problem, but the space is still something to consider. So we moved over to the corner unit, another large open space with a nice staircase in the middle. I wasn't excited about the staircase, to be honest with you, because it's breaking up the room, but Denise didn't mind it and had her own little vision on how we could make it work. Okay, I was rocking with her on that. So there's this little cubby under the stairs that we could possibly add a door to and use as extra storage for things like plates and toilet paper maybe. It has 2 nice sized restrooms, and I'm not mad at those floors. Everything else in there would need to be glammed up, but that will be the case with any unit we choose. It has a small storage space we can use for tables and chairs. It definitely doesn't compare to next door, but at least it's downstairs. Now we really like the ceilings. The wood beams are a nice touch, but that green on the ductwork would definitely have to be painted a less aggressive color for the vibe we're going for. On the other side of the staircase, looks like there's some water hookups, like where we could possibly add a refrigerator, microwave, and a table to turn it into a small kitchenette. The black stairwells look like they were in excellent shape. I like them. I'm not mad at them. They look good. Upstairs is a large open space, much roomier than the unit next door since it doesn't have that storage space. We can imagine putting some decorative couches and chairs up here to create a nice little lounge vibe situation. The other side of this floor isn't much to look at. The realtor said that there used to be a third restroom up here, but it was built illegally, so it had to be demoed. When you look down over the overhang, you can really see how much space there is to work with down there. It's not bad. Plenty of room for banquet tables and food tables for getting your buffet on. So now we're back downstairs and there's these odd double doors. They look like they need some love. They've seen better days. Anyway, they lead out to an outside patio. This patio is big and it's completely gated in. The realtor said it's a common area, meaning that all of the tenants can potentially use it, but he's pretty sure we could ask for it to be ours exclusively and have that wish be granted. We were halfway excited about this patio. We like the size and can work with the shape, but what you can kind of see towards the back left in this picture is an apartment building that is well within earshot. I'm thinking we would probably be opening ourselves up to getting some noise complaints. Nonetheless, we really like this unit and placed it in our number 2 spot after the old Payless shoe store, of course. It's just a matter of confirming that it's zoned correctly. We also visited a couple of other spots. This one's an old bank, but I couldn't get a good picture of what it looked like on the inside. We called the realtor about this later, and he said the owner wants a grip for this spot because he thinks it's in a prime location. Never mind. We also looked at this space. It's in a new little shopping center. They're hoping to get a restaurant in there, but it looks like a nice place for a venue to me. I tried to get a photo of the inside, but as you can see, the windows were crazy dirty. This place didn't have any floors. There was only dirt down there. It's in a nice area and all, but we passed on looking into it further. And to be honest, I don't remember why. In the meantime, we met with an attorney to get the paperwork going for our LLC. Then we went to the county to visit the building and planning office to ask about the spaces we were interested in. Turns out that there's not only an occupancy for the number of people a building can hold, but there's also an occupancy load for how many people the plumbing can handle. Child, I had no idea. But this plumbing occupancy is about to be a pain in the butt. According to the plumbing code and based on the size of the old Payless shoe store, we would need to add 2 toilets and 1 sink designated for women and 1 urinal designated for men, of course. Now, this is in addition to the sink and toilet that's already in there. We asked if we could make the restrooms gender neutral to try to get around this rule. He said that we could, but we would have to add more urinals. Goodness. But that's not all. We also have to add 1 service sink and get this, not 1, but 2 water fountains. Holy hepatitis A, are you kidding me? When was the last time you drank out of a water fountain? And they're not talking about the cool ones that you use to fill your water bottles, although we could install those. No, they're talking about those old-fashioned ones that you see at parks and schools that are crawling with germs, bugs, and boogers. We were like, y'all, we're all freaked out about people simply sharing the same air in 2020. But when it comes to water, it's okay for 200 people to press their lips all up on the same water spout? Not to mention that this is a venue where people will be bringing in food and drinks already. Baby Jesus, please make this make sense. Child, we threw every alternative we could think of at this man. Like, can we get Sparkletts water dispenser? Can we get a refrigerator that has a water dispenser on the outside? Can we always just have complimentary water bottles in the refrigerator? He was like, no, 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 and no. You need 2 water fountains because 1 needs to be low for people in wheelchairs and 1 needs to be high for people who can't bend over. He's making it sound like that we're in the middle of the desert on a sand dune where there's no water in sight. There will be no shortage of beverages, sir. The code says this, the code says that, and the code says it because of this. I mean, installing water fountains that are going to be a complete eyesore, not to mention a waste of money, just seemed absolutely ridiculous to me. But the biggest expense would be adding the extra restroom fixtures. The old Payless shoe store space only has 1 toilet and 1 sink. So we called a contractor out to help us think of some ideas to satisfy all these dang codes. What we came up with is that we would add a urinal in the existing restroom and make that the men's restroom. While we were at it, we would have him move the entrance to the restroom to this wall so they don't have to go through the storage area in order to get to it. Then count out about 5 feet and add a women's restroom long ways against the back wall that has 2 toilets and a sink in it. Then on the other side of the women's restroom, we would build a small kitchenette so we can have a refrigerator and microwave, plus that stupid service sink the county requires in there as well. All in, the contractor estimated that these additions and changes to the layout would cost us around $65,000. Now, I know that's a lot of freaking money, but not to fear because many landlords will offer assistance with remodeling their spaces. They call it tenant improvements. So the plan is to work our magic to not only get the asking price down, but to see what they have in mind for a tenant improvement budget. This old Payless store still feels like the one. Like, this is really our venue. Will we be able to negotiate a better price and convince them to give us enough allowance to significantly reduce the cost of bringing the building to code? I'll tell you next time. That's it for now. Bye.